son, John Rush, drive radio. My son, Richard Rush, behind the camera. This is going to be the long version of the 2015 LS series Lexus. As you can see from looking at the car, this is the biggest car that Lexus makes. A car, not SUV, but car. This happens to be the all-wheel drive version. This car comes in right around 90,000 bucks. It's 89 and some change. And really, the only thing new for 2015 is they've changed some of the infotainment. It's got some LED dome lamps in it now. It's got some grids for the backup camera, which we'll show in the driving portion. And that's really about it, and some FSport badging. This is the FSport version of the car. It does add some dollars to the cost of the car, braking, different things like that. But come around, let's take a look at the car. Richard can show you the front end. We apologize, as you can see, it's been very rainy here in Colorado. It's hard to keep the cars clean, but we'll give you a once around on the car. This is a pretty silver color on this car, which I really do like. And it's got the spindle grille, which is standard now for Lexus. Again, this car's got the FSport badging, all the packaging on it, which does add about $5 grand roughly to the price if you buy all the FSport packaging. And let me double check. Actually, I've got my cheat sheet here with me, and I'll tell you exactly how much that adds. So the FSport Comfort package is $2,090, and sorry, I was wrong. It's actually $7,860 for the FSport package. So you're about 10 grand worth of options when you do all of the FSport. Again, you get the heavier braking, different badging, some differences on the interior, which we'll show you here in a little bit. It's a really good looking car. It's a very high priced car. It is very luxurious. When we get into the driving portion, I will talk about the power side of this particular vehicle. 360 horsepower, and really for 90 grand, I would expect 400 plus. Some of you are probably going to knock me for saying that, but I'll get into that in the opinion portion when I get there. But I'll tell you what, we've gone through the walk around already. Let's go for a drive. We'll come back and we'll go through the interior, and then I'll give you my opinion of the LS460 2015 Lexus. All right, folks, we're going to do the driving portion now of the 2015 Lexus LS460. And, by the way, they do make this car in an LS600 with a 5-liter engine, their hybrid drive system, which, from everything I've read, probably runs way better than this car does, but I haven't checked to see what the price of that car is. But we're going to continue on with this particular review. Again, this car is right around 90,000 bucks. The FSport, which you see a lot of what's in the interior of, the carbon fiber look, things along those lines, that adds about $10,000 to the price of this car. So this car you could buy without the FSport badging and the packaging that's on the FSport side of the fence. You could buy this car for probably around $80,000. Still a lot of money for a full-size sedan. But let's go through some of the features that are here. It does have a nice 10-inch screen. It's got the Intune app where you can control things with your smartphone. That's new for 2015. New LED lighting, which I mentioned earlier. There is glass, sunglass holder, which I will say a lot of cars today don't have. Lexus, good job. I like the fact that that is in here. Some of you say, John, that's a piddly thing. Well, it is, but I like that. Nice headliner. They've done a really nice job. It's a very, very smooth, headliner, nice leather seating, soft touch all around. One thing I will say is they've got nice soft touch features throughout. Again, for 90 grand though, I wish this was full leather here instead of this plasticky feel. Not that it's a deal killer. They went leather down here, didn't up here. There may be a reason manufacturing-wise they didn't do that, but some of your higher-end cars do have leather throughout. This car does not. Leather-wrapped heated wheel. Controls, memory controls for each seat on each side. 3 different memory settings for each seat, passenger and drivers. And as Richard mentioned earlier, he was telling me that I need to remind you guys of the seat belt over on the side. Richard, if you can actually show that, I can control the position of that to where it actually feels more comfortable automatically just with the push of the button over here on the door. Again, all the controls, which is really hard for you to see, are on the left-hand side as far as auto dimming, auto high beams, I should say, your steering wheel heater, all of that's over there. All of your other controls are here, paddle shifters, wipers, of course, on the right side, all the steering wheel controls for the radio, phone, etc. Those are all here. One of the things that I haven't mentioned yet in this review, we've only averaged in this car because of the 4.6 liter V8 engine. The best I've been able to get right now, it's 18.7 miles to the gallon. I have not hit 20 miles to the gallon yet, even though it's rated for higher than that. We have averaged around anywhere from 17 to 19 miles to the gallon. 19 is about the best we've been able to get even out on the highway. But let's take a drive in this car. As I put it in reverse, one of the things they did add this year is you can see this turning. And again, nice big screen. So they did add the grid lines that turn with you. So if I want to go over here to the curb line, you can actually park it without even looking in the rear view mirrors. Just watch the camera. and you can tell exactly how far away from the curb you are. So that part's a nice added feature. They've done a good job there. And as I've said before, the Intune system, which you can watch any of our other reviews, it's really a nice system. You can go to their menu here, figure out where you want to go. If you want to go media, climate control, for example, you just press that, and it's a I don't know how to describe this. Every one of these little places you can go with the mouse, if you would, or the joystick, is got a little notch feel to it. So if I want to turn the fan up, I can basically just come over here and do that here, or I can run it right off of the controls. Again, as I said earlier, this is a driver's car. Very easy, very intuitive. You do not have to get in this car and read the owner's manual to know how to operate everything. I will give Lexus kudos for that. They've done a really good job on that. It's a very intuitive, easy car to get into and drive. But let's do that. Let's go take a quick drive, and you can see how the ride is, how the quietness of this car is. As I said earlier, this is a driver's car. We took my mother-in-law out. We had a graduation to go to. She rode in the back seat. We had a big, long drive from Boulder to Denver. And you know what? Very comfortable car. She commented on how well the car worked. You know, the one comment she did have was $90,000 was a lot of money for the car. But you know what? You're going to spend 60 to 70 on a pretty nice luxury car. You'll have to be the decider of whether or not you want to spend another 15, 20 grand on this particular car. Ride is great. I'm going to quit talking for a minute, let you see how quiet the interior of this car is. And we're on a really, really rough road right now, and you could see, even with all of that, very smooth ride, very comfortable, very quiet, and yet this FSport package gives you the ability to change up the way the driving settings are through the controls right here on the knob in the center console. I'll talk about that when we come back where we're not driving. It's a little easier to explain, but all the settings are easy to get to. Car runs, decently well. I wish it had more horsepower for what the car is, but I will say this. This car will stop on a dime. One of the first things I noticed when I climbed in this car is you barely touch the brakes and it stops like no tomorrow. That's part of the FSport package that's on this particular car. And would I buy this car with the FSport package? Absolutely, I will tell you that right now. All the added features you get on this car, yes, I'd pay the extra 10 grand for this car and buy the FSport just because of the things you get with the car that make it really a much more fun, enjoyable car to drive. This is going to be a tough car to give back, I will be honest with you. Even with a little bit of the lack of power, which I'll get on it right now and show you what I mean, it just doesn't run as well as I think it should compared to some of the other cars in the market. Doesn't mean it's a dog by any means. The car runs well. It's just not as powerful as some of the other cars in its class. Your 360 horsepower, you can buy some other cars in the class and probably bump that by another 50 to 70 horsepower depending upon the car you're looking at that's comparable. But all-wheel drive, car works great. It'll work great in the snow. Fantastic car. I've enjoyed it. Let's come back. We'll go through the interior and I'll give you my opinion of the 2015 Lexus LS460. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed the driving portion. As we always say, get out, drive these cars for yourself, especially when you're going to spend this much money on a car. You definitely want to get out and have some seat time in the car before you spend any money on it and compare all the different models that are out there. The key fob's actually in the car because we left it in there after the driving portion. Leave the lights on, kind of show you how this back end looks. To open the trunk, you can either do the fob or just hit a button. It is automatic, up and down. And it is a sizable trunk. I'm not going to complain there. It's got a nice sizable trunk. I don't know that it's as big as some of the other cars that are actually in its class. Again, that's where you need to get out, look at the vehicles, look at how the trunk is situated, where the wheel wells are positioned. All those different things will affect how much luggage and cargo you can actually get in the actual trunk itself. You can see the button to lower it. They have done, of course, the moldings all around the hinges. Nice, nice interior on this, which actually makes the car quieter on the inside. And this is a nice, quiet, luxurious driving car. We talked about in the driving portion. But to close it, you just hit that down. Let me come around and I'll climb in the back seat. And again, we always leave this passenger seat all the way back. And you can see it is really a long ways back. We do that on purpose to show you how much room there is in case there's a really tall person in front. I'm 5'10". I'll climb in. And even with the seat all the way back, I've still got a good 4 or 5 inches of room in between my knees and the seat in front of me. And this seat again, this passenger seat, there's a ton of room in front, so you'd have more than enough room to bring this up some, which, by the way, if I want to do that, I just come over here and there's a button over here on the side, and I can actually, as a backseat passenger, move that seat up. So that's about where it would be positioned normally. And you can see nice pockets back here, ventilation. There is a power port back here, door pockets. There is a fold-down console, which has some controls in it for the seats. Sunshade, which you can control from here, is right behind your head. One of the things that's a little disappointing for this car as far as the amount of money you're spending is there's no ability, which a lot of the higher end cars give you the ability for the backseat passengers to have some adjustments with the infotainment system. That is not available in this particular car. I'll go over some of that in my opinion portion here in a minute. Looking down the side, again, it's got some FSport this is part of the FSport package is what I'm trying to say. The stitching, the carbon fiber look here, and so on, all that is part of the FSport package. And this car does have a really nice sound system, I will say that. Back here, and if Richard can show this real quick, there is some pop-down mirrors for the backseat passenger, which is kind of cool. These light up, give kind of a, get a mirror back here for anybody in the back seat. And it is a nice rear seat as far as the rear passengers go. Easy access in and out. We had our mother-in-law out in it the other day. And she's in her 80s, had no problem getting in and out of the car, really enjoyed riding in the back of it. So I tell you what, I'll jump in the front seat and we'll continue on with the interior, then I'll give you my opinion. All right, folks, in the front seat now, and one thing my son Richard mentioned as I was hopping in the front seat, this car does not have that. Really, it should, and a lot of cars in its class does, is the rear window. The very back window has a shade, but these side windows do not have a shade to pull up, for backseat passengers, kids, things along those lines. Not that this is going to be a kid car. Typically, you're not going to spend 90 grand and haul your kids around, but you know what? Some people do, and that's just something that's not available. It's just not on this car. So walking through the rest of the interior, pretty standard Lexus controls on the interior. Nice big wide screen we showed you in the driving portion. All the steering wheel controls on the dash for the heated wheel, auto headlights, blind spot monitoring. All those things are available all along here. You control everything which we talked about in the driving portion through the joystick assembly, which I really, really do like. All your controls for the comfort, sport, etc. All of your height. This particular FSport model is about a half an inch, not quite, it's like 0.4 inches lower than a standard LS, and a lot of that you can actually still control through the buttons right here in the center console. Heated and cooled seats, and again, your shade is here. One of the nice things I do like is the way the console opens. It's a very easy console to get in and out of, and to shut it, it just kind of slides right back down, and it's really positioned very well. This, I will say one thing about this car. It's a driver's car. It's very comfortable. I did enjoy driving it. I just wish it had a tad more power, but I tell you what, I'll give you my opinion next, so stay tuned. All right, folks, my opinion of the LS460, 2015 Lexus LS460 is what I should say. Great car, a lot of money. It's a driver's car. It works extremely well, has fantastic braking, but really lacks the power that I feel a $90,000 car should have. This car should be pushing 400 plus horsepower. So Lexus, if you're listening, this really should have a larger engine than the 4.6, or tweak it up, do something with it to get the power up. The all-wheel drive works fantastic. Again, this is a driver's car. The braking on this FSport is fantastic. The downside of this car is you can go out and buy comparable cars in the market for $25,000 less money. Some of you are going to say, John, you're crazy, you can't. Well, you know what? Go drive a Kia 900 and you can buy that car for 25 grand less than this, which includes adaptive cruise control, lane assist, lane departure warning, I guess I should say. Actually, that car actually will drive you in the lanes itself. Those are things this car should have as a standard option, but you have to pay extra to get, which would push you above the $90,000 price. Those are some of the complaints I've got with the LS. Is it a great car? Absolutely. Will this car run 300,000 plus miles? Absolutely. You have to be the decider of whether you want to spend $90,000 for that. So with that, enjoy watching the rest of our reviews, and I do appreciate the time you take to watch the reviews currently. And this is John Rush from Drive Radio. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed this last review that we've just done. And as always, we say this, but we really do mean it. Get out, drive the car, put yourself, your family, your pet, whatever you're going to do with the vehicle, please get out, get in it, drive it. Make sure when you go and do that, you tell them John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you. For all of our other reviews, content, things that we have, you can check that out at our website, drive-radio.com. Please go and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/driveradio. And of course, you found this on YouTube, because that's where we put all these videos up. Our channel, Drive Radio, all one word. Go check out all the rest of our reviews. Like it, comment, do whatever you need to. We want to be here to help you pick out the right vehicle for you, because as we always say, there's really not too many bad vehicles made today. There's just bad vehicle choices. So with that, I hope you have a great evening, great day, whatever it is. Just enjoy, and again, thanks so much for watching.